Hi, Aaron Fulk. How are you doing?
Hi, Scott Havens. Why are you using my last name?
Why would I not? Brand recognition.
Oh,
What do we talk about all the time? I mean,
you teach me about it, please.
yeah, I know you do this for a living, but we're in the waiting room prepping for the show, and me and the other guests, we're a little bit we're old school. We're just not doing everything. That's why people need to hire Lily and James Creative if they want to make sure they're getting their brand out there. That's why I said brand.
Thank you for the commercial. I really
Segue.
appreciate it. Woo, how are you?
Doing good, doing good. You're texting early in the morning. You're in a workout machine right now. My partner Melissa Ford and I, we text like literally only before 7:30 a.m. and then not much after that.
We don't talk after that. Yeah, I've been waking up every day at 4:45. My gym opens at 5, so I'm there by 5. So I do that for an hour, and then I go on a 2-mile. I go home, and there's a bunch of trails around me. I walk on those for 2 miles. So.
Oh, you do have a lot of beautiful trails. That is kind of cool. It's a lot of very underrated trails. I wish we had Bestway International to navigate us through those trails and Evardy Construction to build more monuments for you.
Da-da-da. I don't know why you don't have more TV spokesperson jobs in your life.
One thing I did go up to a guy and I said, "Hey, your voice is amazing. How'd you do it?" And he goes, 2 packs a day for 20 years. I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to do that." So I think it's just a little genetic having a deep voice.
You know what's? I just meant your segues. I wasn't talking about your voice. You know what is? I don't know if this is. We've had a lot of these shows, and I'm not sure this has ever happened before. Today we have 2 guests that do not know you, do not know me, and I believe do not know Jessica Powell. Those are usually the 3 people that book on this show at this point. However, they do know the same person. So a previous guest, we'll let them talk about that.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Them, sent it out and booked both of them. But I thought that was pretty funny.
How long have we been doing the show? How many years?
It was like 5.5.
5.5. So, man, I wonder.
You can tell Julie, your wife, this, but I think you're my longest any type of relationship ever besides my children.
Yeah. Do you know my daughter, I think, was maybe only a month or 2 old when this started.
They were brand new.
Yeah, she was a leap year baby in February, so the show started right after that.
You know who else has been around for a long time?
Paul Fogel, the myth, the man, the legend. We're getting it. Paul and I are getting together in a couple of weeks. Can have a little coffee action.
80% of the shows I think he's commented on, and we really appreciate that, Paul.
We love Paul.
Scott loves your jokes, but I appreciate you for always being here. Paul says he is watching from a tent in the Sahara Desert. Oh, wait, he's in Kansas City. That is because Paul is telling us if he's watching us live. Is he on Facebook? Is he on YouTube? Or is he on LinkedIn? Where is he watching us from? Let us know in the comments so we can pull your comment up as well. I got a little sidetracked. One of our guests just fell off, but he's just going to jump on the link in a second and get back on. So we're going to talk for just a second while he does that.
Just so people know, we don't like talking about ourselves. It's really our way to hype up Bestway International and Evardy Construction, who are really, really cool partners. And funny enough, when you do business with friends, everything makes life a lot easier and a lot more fun. And so everyone that knows Bestway International and that knows Evardy Construction loves them and loves to have a good time.
All right, he's back. I'm not even telling you which one. I'm not even going to tell you. Just telling you that's why I got sidetracked. I don't want you guys to think I wasn't this professional that I am. All right, here we go. I'm going to play World's Worst Music to introduce these guests because you
greatest music.
Wait a minute.
We got new music. Oh no.
I thought for a second we did. They just add stuff all the time to this software, but they didn't. But you know what's going to do? I'm going to find, wait, it says more music. Should I just see if there's more? Oh, I can. Oh, I figured out how to have my own music. Wait till next week.
I don't like it. 6 years of the same music. It's not going to be good.
5.5. Okay, here we go. I'm going to find our guest. All right. This week, we got Tyler and Dr. Carlton. Awesome. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad you both could make it and make it back. I'm not telling you who dropped. All right, but I did get a little thrown off. All right, here. We're going to get started. Make sure that you're asking your questions over here because we got pretty awesome guests we're learning about for the first time.
Nice.
All right. So Tyler, who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Yeah, so I am Tyler Geisler, and I own Best Graphics, printing, promotional supplier, branded apparel supplier. We're out of Kansas City, Missouri. We've been in business 41 years now at this point. And I am born and raised in South Kansas City, in kind of the Olathe Overland Park area. So I've been quite traveled besides that, but mostly that's where my heritage is from. Outside of that, I've traveled and lived in 3 different countries and been to 4 different continents. So it's been a great experience and a plethora of opportunity there. But yeah, so that's who I am. It's what I do. Best Graphics is we like to be a B2B, all things printing and promotional and branded apparel supplier. So think of like your koozies, your hats, your screen printing, embroidery, also your business cards, your things of that nature, your laser statements, checks, envelopes, all that kind of stuff. Things that happen in the B2B operational space, but it's just not as much about like the super flash, because a lot of times on the 4-imprint or custom ink, that might be your consumer face. Whereas we like to live in the B2B. What's in your critical path? What is streamlined? What helps you get there type thing. So that's the space that we like to live in.
I have so many questions about this. Okay, for the first question, was this a family business and you took over, or did you purchase this business?
Yeah, I acquired this business. We're in month 16 of ownership change. And so it's been an incredible opportunity. I would highly recommend reading a few books before walking into this space. One is, and changing your inputs, get the right people around you that think in these ways, that live in this space. I read the first book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, high recommendation of that one. It just changes the way you think to an abundance mindset, which was not what I grew up with. And then another one, all of my entrepreneur friends said, hey, if you could start over, would you buy or would you build? And every one of them that have built said we would buy every time. And I was like, well, I don't really like risk a lot, which is odd saying that. But it's because of the statistics of acquisition success versus startup and those kind of things. So I bought it last April and took over, and the previous owner just had a phenomenal setup as far as things were working. But I get to step in and then focus on new opportunities for verticals and then streamlining and kind of updates of tech infrastructure, stuff like that.
Okay, were you looking for a printing business in particular, or were you just looking for a business that you liked the numbers, you liked the setup, that type of stuff?
Yeah. What I learned about myself is that I am built to solve problems. It took me a little while to get to that point, but I just knew, I started to understand intrinsically I love to solve problems. It didn't really matter the industry. Service was kind of my background from project management perspective, but I just love to solve the problems. And then the numbers jived in this one. I originally said no thanks, and I looked at it again and I was like, well, apparently I'm excited about this. So that and the staff team has been great. So taking care of them, resourcing them, and getting out of the way is really my main role.
All right, we're about to switch over, but just tell me if you know the answer to this or not, and I'll ask you later offline. Have you looked at what the percentage of checks you print now versus when they started 40 years ago? Because I bet that used to be a bigger part.
I don't know the figure, but I do know the differences. Yes.
So did that used to be a much bigger part of the business? Was that ever a big part of their business?
We still do a lot of checks, but it depends on the industry, mostly in the ag space. So our customer base is nationwide, but a lot of the ag space still lives in that, and even the contractor space still does a lot of check stuff.
Damn.
I get so upset if somebody asks me to write a check. Okay. Paul asked, Tyler, are you in the downtown underground?
That's right.
Paul, go visit. Paul's going to come visit you. All right. Carlton, who are you? What do you do? How do you get to Kansas City?
Well, thanks for having me. I'm Carlton Abner. How I got to Kansas City, born and raised here. The only time I've been out of the Kansas City area is during my time on active duty in the Army. Who am I? I started my career as a nurse in the emergency trauma space. Did that as a second lieutenant on through captain, so about 7, almost 8 years in the Army. Came back to Kansas City, was an ER nurse at Truman Medical Center, or what rebranded as University Health, and have enjoyed that type of service, just helping other people, like my entire professional career. I am currently an associate provost at the nation's 4th largest medical school, Kansas City University. It's not UMKC, it's not KU. It's an osteopathic medical school that definitely has a branding problem. With just people being familiar with Kansas City University versus some of the other schools that are in town. I've been there for 4 years leading the health and wellness program. Have thoroughly enjoyed that because it's just another way of extending into helping and serving other people. Extremely passionate about that. Have always been service minded my entire life, and whatever I can do to make an impact. And right now it's in the health sciences space and trying to change health sciences education for not only Kansas City University, but across the nation, as we've got a very interesting generation in Gen Z that have different needs. We'll just say that they have different needs as they enter higher ed, and my whole role is just about being supportive for those needs, and I thoroughly enjoy that. Like I said, it's just another extension of service for me.
What are some of the differences you see that they need?
So you can take every Gen Z person right now and just subtract 5 years from the chronological age, and that's about where they are socially. And it's because they are shielded from a lot of things. So we as parents tend to look at safety in a very dichotomous relationship. It's either safe or it's not. And when it's not safe, we tend to hold our children back from it. And so they haven't been exposed to a lot of the things that previous generations have been exposed to. And, so as far as maturing socially, those ingredients have not been there at quite the same amount as previous generations. So I think that is probably one of the biggest and most generalized way you could sum them up.
Yeah, that's a fact. I'm that mom.
It is true.
Well, we all are. We all are. It's just a 24-hour news cycle. It's unsolved mysteries. It's all the things that made us look at safety in a very dichotomous way. And, that's the output.
My son's college has a really hardcore thing. I wonder if your college has something like this. I thought it was just East Coast, but maybe this is just colleges after hearing you. They are not letting me do all the stuff I would like to do. They keep telling me he has to call. He's an adult. Is that pretty normal right now in the college space for Gen Z?
It needs to be a requirement. So even after college, there are some bachelor degree graduates showing up to job interviews with parents. It's just a comfort level that, they haven't quite got yet, nor have been allowed to. So you have to be very intentional as a parent, because you're sending either one of two messages: I trust you, or this is dangerous, I don't trust you. So you got to let them fly.
Okay. Well, now that I feel guilty.
Yeah. Tyler, as we move on to the show, what is the most pivotal point in your career?
Yeah, I think it was, there's kind of 2 points to it. There was a point as I was in process of thinking, why do I want to go down this path, this business ownership, this leadership path? A lot of the history and my background of my skill sets is pretty diverse. I've worked in different capacities that effectively at some point I had functioned in every department a small business would have. Your HR, your project management, your P&L, your accounting, your in the field, all these kinds of things. I'd worked and executed and lived in all of those areas. And I got to a point where I was just like, why do I have all these skill sets? And why do I have all these experiences? And on paper, it's kind of funny because you'd look at me and be like, I'm a millennial. You look at my resume and be like, he's a millennial that can't figure out what he wants to do. He's got commitment issues. And the reality it was, like I said before, I'm built to solve problems. It was that I got to the point in my opportunities that I had solved the problems that were handed to me. I had solved the tasks, and I'd reached a growth kind of plateau, so to speak. And I was just like, man, I want to go after more. What's the next thing? How can I get after it? And there were just some bottlenecks in the process of that. And so I recognize now it was, when I solve a problem, I get there, I set up a process and a system, and then I move to the next problem. I love to go after the next mountain, the next mole, or whatever that is, hill, all those kind of things, good, bad, or indifferent. But when I got to that point, my wife and I also had to say, a couple of years ago, we had to say no to two pretty pivotal once in a lifetime things. One was a bucket list thing with my father. He's got Parkinson's, so he's on the clock and how that works. And it was more of a time related issue. And then another one was a finance issue on her side of the family. And we just got frustrated that it's not that you own a business, all of a sudden you're made of cash. It's actually the opposite. You own a business and you're like, man, I'm watching my numbers like crazy. but we wanted to position ourselves, and it came to the point we were both frustrated because we knew our capacity and capabilities, but we weren't in the context of being able to be in more control of our time, or have the opportunity to be in more control of our time and more influential on our resources. And it was that realization, which was kind of at our home in a conversation, but my wife and I don't really do much unless I'm united in big ways with my wife. So when we're on the same page, that's when it's like, let's rock and roll. And that was a pretty pivotal thing, that it was like, hey, my W-2 is great. It's not a bad thing. It's actually an awesome thing, but it's not going to provide the same opportunities as far as life structure and context that we want to raise our family, our kids, and the trajectory that we're on. So it was kind of in that realization of, well, that means career has to make some tweaks. I've got to look in some new avenues, if that makes sense. That's why those 2 books that I read were relatively important to helping me get educated in the process.
You did a phenomenal job of answering that question within 3 minutes. Dr. Abner, what is the most pivotal point in your career?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to where my leadership journey started as a second lieutenant on a multi-purpose ward at Fort Riley, Kansas. And I'm going to do some framing here before I answer here. The military is split into basically two echelons, 2 levels. You've got your enlisted members, which are like your privates, your sergeants on through there, and then you have your officers, your lieutenants, captains, colonels, generals. I had started out on the enlisted side as a medic, and then got an ROTC scholarship, which earned me my commission. So I'm on active duty, and I'm showing up as a previous enlisted member in this leadership role. And I just remember running into a situation where I had one of my troops did something I knew was wrong, was potentially harmful to them and to patient care, and I didn't know what to do with it. And so there was this 2 to 3 days that I just sat in angst, like how do I address this? How do I talk to them? How do I effectively intervene? And I just asked one of our senior sergeants, who was a staff sergeant of E6 at the time, Sergeant Ramirez, and what he told me was like, how long have you been sitting on this? 2 or 3 days? And so you're going to let the 15 minutes of momentary discomfort that you could have done now turn into 2 to 3 days that you've been sitting on this. And that was a flip for me. And so it wasn't necessarily that specific bit of information, but it was just in general, as a leader, being open to seeking input, and to, by all means, not just going out there and acting like a leader, but actually honing your craft, learning, getting input from other people, and being humble enough to say, hey, I'm not quite sure how to handle this, going to other people and asking them for their insights and experience, so that you can grow. I've taken that life lesson with me throughout every stage, the humility, being humble, and avoiding at all costs acting like I know everything, like allowing for collaboration, other people to contribute, and telling people if I don't know, being secure enough and saying, hey, I'm not sure. What does everybody else think? Or just taking a moment and finding out some other resources. But that moment, when I'm glad it happened, literally first week that I was on station, has set the foundation for me everywhere I go, everywhere I've been since then.
Do you feel like you had enough life experience at that moment that you were ready for it?
I did. Yeah. So I felt like I had the aptitude, right? But you need reps, you need experience. Becoming a leader is not waking up one day, assuming the role, and boom, I'm now an effective leader. There is, like every other job, every other role, you need experience, and you got to get the reps in. And part of that experience is seeking knowledge.
Tyler talked a little bit about his favorite books. Do you have a favorite leadership book?
Oh, yeah. So my wife and I we own a clinic out in Kansas City, Kansas, called Clinica Medica. It's a cash-only clinic that caters primarily to Spanish-speaking patients. Before, and as Tyler said, instead of buying or setting something up, we bought into a clinic. The clinic's been there for 20 years. We've owned it for 2. Before going on that adventure, there was this great book called Traction that we used to kind of map out the entrepreneurial operating system. So that's by far my favorite entrepreneurial book. My favorite leadership book is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. Just, as a leader, you own it all. And that's, he does a great way of kind of explaining all of that for people.
Did you use an EOS implementer, or did you just do it on your own?
I did it primarily on my own. At this point, I love strategy, so I love just mapping out like what it is we need to do, particularly the people part of it. And we've been successful with basically not changing what doesn't need to be changed. We didn't need to come in there and reset an established business, but there was certainly opportunity to add some good business practices, and little by little we've updated those to be more reflective of best practices.
Nice. I love that book. Okay, Geisler, how are your 2025 goals going, and how can the Kansas City community help you?
Yeah, the goals are going along pretty well. We've got some revenue goals of a 5%. Hey, it'd be great to hit a 5% growth, and then a stretch goal of 10%. And I say those, hey, people in today's days, you hear 5 and 10 and you're like, what is wrong with you? Why would you not shoot for the moon, right? Like, and do these 30, 50, whatever. I've been in high growth, and I have seen what high growth can do. And if it's not well managed, it will chew you up and spit you out. It's also really dangerous cash flow wise. And so that's where I'm like, hey, if we, in the long game mindset, knowing where we have, if we can have a 5 or 10% growth, that's manageable, and it's stretching, and it can serve our customers and our teams well. And so we're on track with the 5%, as long as Q3 and 4 turn out how I'm hoping that they will, type thing. And then there's some other just process and cleanliness improving things when you have a business that's 40 years old. And it's, again, the process as far as executing things has been great. Our customers are getting what they need, but I'm looking at the right tools as far as getting some software tools implemented that will help streamline some things, take burdens off of the staff team, and implement those kind of areas. So it's going well in that area. I think there's a couple of verticals that I am trying to work into a little bit more. And that's kind of where, hey, where can people help? What is the opportunities there? I'd like to work into more of the mailing space. So things that are going to be your postcards, whatever it is, you've got a mailing list you want to hit, whether it's your customer base or you want to do EDDM or something like that, which EDDM stands for every door direct mail. A lot of auto shops and all those kind of people, it says postal customer or resident. It's those kinds of things. So that is a vertical, as well as product packaging. That's an area that I want to get in touch with as well. Not food-based specifically. I'd rather work in the hard goods, whether it's a toy, a tech piece, or whatever, those kinds of things, to work with you. And you're going to launch a product, or you're going to launch a thing that has to go out. And you've got a little lift top mailer anywhere from this big to 2 feet wide. If it needs some full artwork inside and out, you need a tray that holds it, those kinds of things. People just don't realize that may be the world of print, but that is, a lot of people are like, hey, print's kind of dying, it's gone. I'm like, all right, well, go walk in any retail store, go any grocery store across the way, any business, and you'll see it. It's just we don't think of it in the same terms as far as how that works. So, but I'd love to be connected to people that are in, if they have print as part, really, if print is part of your critical business operation in some way, whether it's operating or it's a marketing collateral. So a clinical thing, whether it's your marketing handout, you've got a custom folder that says this operation can be these kinds of things or whatever, or it's your checks or business cards. But really, the 2 verticals I'm looking at would be the product packaging and then the mailing. Those are some great areas I'd like to make connections in.
Is LinkedIn a good place to get a hold of you at?
Absolutely. Yep. I'm watching that all the time.
Cool,
Do
cool,
you
cool.
do a lot with law firms?
We have a few in there. Yep. We have some noticeable customers. And I would love to do that. Because sometimes you've got, depending on your packaging and how you serve your customers. But yes, I would love to help the law firm world.
I told Scott my goal was to make I have another agency that helps law firms, and
She's crushing it in the other, crushing
partnerships in that world. No, I do. I have 2 things. Q4. Am I right in assuming that's one of your busiest quarters because you're doing the branded merchandise?
Yeah, when you get into the promo side of things, especially with how things are working out, your Q4 gets pretty slammed. We do a lot of pre-sales in some of our customer bases with calendars. So in the ag space, calendars, wall hanging stuff is still a really big thing. And we can get screaming awesome deals on those, but we sell those all year long. It's just things don't get delivered until later on. But yes, Q4 with apparel and product merchandise and swag and stuff like that is a big one, which we love. So
I wanted to tell you guys a 1-second story too. I'm in an agency group that just has agencies all across America, well, really the world, but only agency owners. And the fastest growing agency in the group, and there's over 500 agencies in there, is a tree trimming marketing agency. They just do tree trimming, and all they do is direct mail. That's it. It is for certain industries, it works like crazy. They're like a $5 million industry in 2 years just doing direct mail to tree trimming companies.
Yep.
Four tree trimming companies, 2 homes.
What I'm telling people is don't underestimate the value of a sizable QR code because it gets people into a contact. It gets them to a form. How do you have a landing page that goes there? How do you get from in hand to in contact? That's just one of the fastest ways in today's tech to do that, because you have phone numbers, but that means I have to dial 7 digits.
Right. Exactly.
Which I know that sounds funny, but that's the click world we live in.
Totally agree.
All right, Carlton. How is 2025 going for you, and how can the Kansas City community help you?
It's been an adventure. It continues to be a journey. So two big things that are new to me. The first one is, I'll say I've always been driven by impact, as I mentioned when I was at the bedside as a nurse. At times in the beginning, that was one patient at a time. As I grew as a leader, it might have been in a department at the time. As I left the bedside and did consulting, it was a hospital or health system at a time. I'm at a turning point now where I'm able to impact all of health sciences education. And this year, this 2025 is going to be a year of building a foundation for that. What do the systems changes look like as far as helping health sciences universities embrace the environment that this generation of medical students or physician or future clinicians need? And that's sometimes a hard road. Sometimes people will respond by saying, hey, if I did it, they can too. But it's just not going to go well, particularly like if you look at things like a physician shortage, which we already have right now. We need people who have signed up for this very arduous journey to be able to make it through. So that is journey number one is embracing the right experience that our future clinicians need. And journey number two is I raised my hand for public office, which is exciting and terrifying all at the same time. There's so much vitriol in politics right now, and I am just not that person. And eventually I was just like, you can keep complaining about it or, get off the couch. And so starting off small, Johnson County Community College trustee. So it's a countywide election, off-year election. So 2025, it'll be November 4th. And throwing my hat in that arena. So walking through the collateral journey right now, getting the word out and messaging. I'll start knocking on doors. Exactly. So maybe he's connections here with Tyler. I'll start knocking on doors here next week. And campaigning all the way through late October. And hopefully I can bring some of my experiences and expertise and knowledge to that amazing resource and keep it going with whatever I can contribute. So I'm looking forward to both of those journeys that are starting in earnest right now.
Is that the seat that Don Raton currently sits in?
Correct. Yeah.
Whoa, look at that knowledge.
Or is it opening up?
It is. So there's 4 seats. Don is actually is up for re-election. So there's 8 people running, 4 seats, 3 incumbents. Don is one of the 3 incumbents. And we wish her all the best of luck. She's a fantastic person.
I didn't realize there were 4. Stay off Twitter.
How'd you know that?
Because I know.
How did she know?
Aaron.
Yeah.
Not Dr. Abner.
Because I vote in those elections, and Johnson County is in my backyard. Like the school's in my backyard.
It is in your backyard.
While you're running.
What's that?
Post on Twitter, but stay off. Don't get your feelings hurt. They're very mean to politicians.
Aaron, one quick question for Dr. Abner. Do you ever do a keynote on Gen Z?
Oh, yeah. That is part of the package that I have. So I haven't done a lot of paid gigs lately because the programming, the research that we're doing at Kansas University, there's a lot of conferences that I'm able to go to and speak to. But yeah, Gen Z is certainly a topic. Gen Z leadership, just the overall work environment are things that are.
Well, there's a lot of donors that want advice on their children, and so that speech travels.
I'd be happy to provide. It's one of the things I want to bring to the college. Like this, I can't emphasize this. And this generation is different, and we have to respond differently. It just is what it is.
Yeah, I got one of them. Okay. Thank you guys so much. Let me real quick, Carlton, Dr. Carlton, Best way to get a hold of you is on LinkedIn.
Sure. You can reach me via LinkedIn. You'll see a lot of campaign messaging there as well.
Cool. Thank you so much to both of our guests today. We really appreciate you guys coming on. Go connect with them on LinkedIn. Thank you to Bestway International and Evardy Construction. And thank you, Scott, for being the best co-host ever. We will see you same time, same place next week. Thanks.